stay on our diet, and the next day all hell breaks loose. One day we feel so loved, and the next day we feel so alone. Trying to control life will never bring you the peace you long for, because the peace is the ocean of being. That is who you truly are. No matter what is happening in your life, this ocean of being is within you, and it is always there. Why don't we notice it? I love metaphors, and as I share this metaphor with you, I invite you just to notice, are you holding your breath? And probably so at some level. And then just a long, slow out breath. You can even add the great sound of letting go. Ah, the sound that is so powerful that it is in most of our words of God. God, Ram, Abba, Jehovah, Yahweh, Allah. Isn't that amazing when you really think about it? It also happens to be the vibration of the heart. So I invite you, you can do it silently if you're in the public or out loud. Ah. Ah. So I want you to imagine that you're in an outdoor symphony. And, it's in a lovely summer night, and the air is warm, and the stars are sprinkled everywhere, and the symphony is so unbelievably beautiful. You are moved. You are grounded right here. You are open, and life flows through you as these delightful sounds that move you to your core. And then, in the row in front of you, a man gets up and starts talking loudly. And he starts moving his arms around. And he's very, very upset. What do you pay attention to? You no longer pay attention to the symphony. You're paying attention to the mind. But the important thing to notice is that the symphony doesn't go away. We just pay attention to the noisy man. The symphony of life, the ocean of being, the essence of who you truly are that is always here, never goes away. We have just learned to pay attention to the struggles in our mind. We become entrapped in a very tight, opaque bubble of struggle. And yes, most of the struggles are not very big. You know, we are temporarily, upset that our favorite TV program has been preempted for a football playoff, or the next door neighbor's dog is barking as you're trying to go to sleep. But the big struggles come for all of us, because one day our body will get ill, and one day we will die, and our loved ones will die or will die before them. And this is an uncontrollable, constantly changing river, and we try to find peace in this river. Remember the fairy tale about the boy trying to put his finger in the dike? And so we're stuck there, trying to hold back the flow of life. But I'm here to tell you that the safest thing you'll ever do is open again to the great flow of life. Now, we're beginning to get this there's so much about living in the now. And Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, it just took this world by storm, so much so that, the advertisements say, if you buy this car, you will live in the now. I mean, I laughed hysterically when I saw that. Or you use this makeup, But that's a romanticized version of living in the now. It is the mind's idea that if I just live in the now, then I'll have everything I want and everything will be okay, because that's where everything is okay. Well, it is true that everything is okay there, but not in the world of the mind. Because being open to life is being open to the 10,000 joys and the 10,000 sorrows. And all of our ideas about living in the now doesn't include being open to the difficulties. But that's why, so much of what I offer in this show and in my books and in my online courses, is not only how to see that you're caught in struggle and to see that there is a huge difference between having your attention ensnared in the world of struggle and having your attention here, but also how to stay present, how to be present when the difficult times come, because they will come, because they are a part of life. Remember the yin and yang symbol. The dark and the light are nestled together, and in the light is a point of dark, and in the dark is a point of light. So what I'm offering you here is the invitation to begin to become fascinated with how much you spend your life trying to control life, how much you struggle, and how much this has never brought you the lasting peace. The other thing I'm offering you here is to become fascinated by this, to begin to get inklings that the ocean of being is always here. The peace you long for is always here. Go back to the symphony. The symphony doesn't stop playing when the loud mind is struggling. You're being invited to learn how to bring your attention out of the busy, struggling mind and bring it right here, where who you really are is. Who you really are is spacious. It's light. It doesn't cling anywhere. It is open to life exactly as it is. What we are exploring here is how to play lightly with life. How to tickle your struggling mind under its chin and say, oh, I know, you really don't like this. And you meet it with lightness, with spaciousness, with kindness. And it calms down, and there is the ocean of being. A good example out of my life is that in my early 20s, I was living in Europe, and I was on a highway, a 2-lane highway, and a man coming from the other direction had a heart attack, and he came over and hit me head on. And from that moment on, I have had challenges with my back. And I've done a lot of things to manage it. I've done a lot of massage and a lot of physical therapy, and I've done orthotics, and I've done heat and ice, and I've done chiropractic, and all of those were necessary management tools. But this truly has been a gift, because sometimes it was a pain that was unbearable. And I had the wonderful grace to hang out with Stephen Levine, who had the wonderful grace to hang out with tens of thousands of people that were on their deathbeds. And they taught him, and then he taught me, how to stay open even when we're in deep pain. It does take time. I mean, it's like, a child that's just learning how to walk doesn't go run a marathon, and we have been so completely trained to resist pain, whether it's physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain, but we can learn how to see, oh my God, we're caught in struggle most all the time. What is my mind resisting right now? And you can learn how to go towards it rather than run away. Resistance is futile. Resistance only creates suffering. So in 2014, I had a spine surgery, not a really big one, but, and it was magic. And for about 2.5 years, almost 3 years, I was out of most pain, and then it started coming back. And eventually it became so intense that I went back to the doctor and had an MRI and an X-ray and so on and so forth. And come to find out, there's been more degeneration in my spine, and that I have a cyst in my spine, which is why the pain is even more intense than it was before, because you just move the right way and the nerve is tweaked and you get lightning strikes. You just jump, in pain. And so I am going into spine surgery in a month now, much more major spine surgery than before. And so all of this pain has been my wondrous teacher. Stephen Levine would say, may you be so blessed to come across something you can't control. What does he mean by that? You can live in your mind. You can go all the way to your deathbed lost in this addiction to trying to control life, which never, ever will bring you the peace and the ease you long for. It will never bring you home to the ocean of being that is always here. But here I had pain that was unbearable at times. And slowly, because I have a very stubborn mind, slowly I learned that when I was tight and small and resistant, I wake up in the middle of the night and the pain is there, and I assure you my first reaction is reaction, and the mind just wants it to go all the way, but very quickly I begin to become curious, and I go towards, and then there is space. The mind calms down because there's space. I can say to my mind, I see you are scared. Of course you are scared. And the mind is just like you and I. When somebody listens to us, we calm down. And the mind calms down enough that I can begin to be with the pain. It just brings tears as I share that with you, because the absolute joy of moving from stubborn resistance to natural, open-hearted openness. If life said, I'll give you $1 billion, but I'll take away that capacity to open to what the mind is afraid of, keep your $1 billion, because there's no greater joy that I know of than to come back to being itself, especially when the mind and body are struggling. So last Monday, I had seen a couple of surgeons, and because this is going to be a very major surgery, and I saw the final surgeon, which is the surgeon that I am going to go with, partly because he was so blunt. And he said, here I am, I'm looking at your MRI from 2014, and now I'm looking at your MRI from November of 2018, and there's a lot of degeneration. And for the rest of your life, you are going to be very limited in lifting twisting, and bending. And it was almost like I was hearing this way far away,